Hi, I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Last week's video showed a stool that I did a makeover on. Today I want to show you how I designed a hooked rug to use up some of my scrap wool to put on the top of the stool. So the top of my stool is 14.5 by 11 inches, and I want the hooked rug to be a little bit smaller than the top so that a little bit of the wood shows on top. So I'm going to make the hooked rug 1/4 of an inch smaller on each side, so it will be 14 inches by 10.5 inches. So I have cut my piece of rug warp with 4 inches extra on all 4 sides, and then I'm going to draw my pattern. Hopefully I'll get it right the first time. I'm going to go in about 4 inches. So I want to draw a line. It's my long ways, so I want it to be 14 inches. So if I draw from 4 to 18, and then going this direction, I want it to be 10.5 inches. And then the 14 again. Just using my previous lines to line up on my ruler. It looks good. Now I want to divide this into little rectangles. I'm going to divide it into 6 little rectangles. So I'll hook across, and then I'll hook up and down, and then across again, and then the opposite on the bottom 3. So since this is 14 inches and this is 10.5, so I want to divide 14 by 3 because I have 3 of them going this way, and that is 4 2/3 inches. And then the 10.5 I can divide by 2 since there's 2 going this way, and that makes each one of those 5 1/4. So I need a line 5 1/4 inches up from the bottom. I'm going to use the lines on my ruler to measure it. If you don't have a see-through ruler, I highly recommend one. And then that should be 5 1/4 inches this way also. It looks good. Then I want to draw my line 4 2/3, which is going to be somewhat between the 4.5 and 4 3/4 mark. This ruler doesn't have thirds lines. I'm going to do that from either side, and that way if the middle is slightly different in size, it won't be that big a deal. Draw little lines here so I will remember which way I need to hook. This is my basket of scrap wool. It's just got pieces that are a little too small to do much with, and it's rather overflowing. So I wanted to use up some of these in making the rug. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through and pick out the colors that I definitely don't want to use. I don't really want to use pinks. And this is a sweater that I had felted, some leftover pieces from that, so that would not work very well. I'm just going to look through the rest of them and kind of decide what colors I think would go best together. There's a lot of browns and tans, and that would go with my living room decor pretty well. So I think I'm going to go in that direction and weed out the grays. I don't really want any bright orange in there. So I'm going to take the colors that are left and just look at them as a whole and see if there are any colors that I don't think blend in well. So I don't really like the brighter red with these colors. I'm going to pull those out. I don't like the bright orange, but I don't mind this rust darker orange color. I don't think I'd want to use a whole lot of this type of blue, but I think just a little tiny bit will be okay. Since so much of the wools that I have are brown and tan in color, I'm going to do the outline of each of these blocks in a solid brown, and then I will fill in with all my other scrap wool. So now I'm going to start cutting. I did cut my strips by hand with my ruler and rotary cutter, so they are not perfect. So some of my rows when I hooked didn't turn out exactly right, but I filled in where I needed and I made it work. I have finished hooking the rug and I have steam pressed it. I used scraps for my scrap basket for everything except I did cut from a piece of blue wool to add just a little bit of blue in a few places so that it will coordinate well with my braided rug. The funny thing is my wool basket is still full and I have all of this wool left over, and it was all in the basket before. I'm not really sure how it all fit in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut it about an inch away from the hooked edge on all four sides, and then I will serge that. I have the edges trimmed and serged, and so now I'm going to press the foundation fabric to the back. And so I'm going to start with the corners. I'm going to press each of the four corners in first. And then I'm going to press the sides to the back. Then I'm going to put a damp pressing cloth over the edges and press it again and really give it a good steaming that will help hold everything in place. Now I will let that dry again, and then the next step will be to baste the back. I'm going to baste the foundation fabric to the back of the rug. To attach the hooked rug to the top of the stool, I'm going to use these little tacks. I've got the hooked rug centered on the top of the stool, and then I'm going to separate out the wool. I don't want to put the tack right in the middle of a strip of wool. I want to put it in between the strips of wool. And I'm holding it with some needle nose pliers. And then I'm going to hammer it in. I did several tacks along each edge. After each tack was hammered in, then I moved the wool around to cover it up. I hope you found that helpful. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.